Hello, everyone, and welcome in. We invite you to come on into this space. I hope that you enjoyed your lunch this afternoon. We're excited about our keynote speaker. At this time, I want to turn the virtual microphone over to our Spanish interpreters. Well, maybe. So as you all are coming in, just to get to know each other just a little bit, I'm
Para
going
que
to
todos
ask.
sepan y nos podamos conocer.
Go ahead, Maria.
I am talking in the Spanish channel.
Okay, all right, excellent. So can we go on now? Yes, Kimberly, go on.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 22nd
Buenas
Central
tardes
Tech.
a todos y bienvenidos.
The problem is I can hear her at the same time. Is that the way it's supposed to be? I want to make sure because I don't know where to stop.
No, it's not. So let's see.
Right
Yeah.
now, let me make the announcement for the people who are in the main room. And after
Absolutely.
that, you need to assign me as an interpreter. And you will only listen to me through the Spanish channel.
Okay.
Excellent, go ahead.
Muy buenas tardes y bienvenidos a esta presentación. Si desean escuchar esta reunión totalmente en español, en la parte inferior de la pantalla hay un icono de mundo que dice Interpretation. Pueden hacer clic en él y elegir el idioma Spanish, español, para escuchar la reunión completamente en idioma español. Muchísimas gracias.
Awesome. Thank you so much to our Spanish interpreters. Once again, hello, my name is Kimberly Holiday, and I welcome you to the 22nd Central Texas African American Family Support Conference. I'm your moderator this afternoon, and shortly we'll begin with our keynote entitled Permission Granted, the Art of Thriving to Transform Trauma. While we wait for more people to come on into the room, let's get to know each other a little bit more. I have a few questions for you. You can use the chat function to answer these questions. How would you describe today in a color? For me, it's green. It's all go, right? And the next one is, what's your theme song? And again, I'd like to welcome you all into this space. And in just a moment, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, I am so grateful to our Spanish interpreters for being here. This conference is rated E for everyone. Before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Ascension Seton and the Texas Council for Developmental Disabilities. Thank you for making this keynote possible. Now we have a few housekeeping items to go over together. I want you to understand that this is a safe and supportive space. Please help us maintain a respectful and inclusive environment. Please mute yourself at all times. Use the chat function in Whova to interact with other attendees. For questions for the presenter, we ask that you please use the Q&A function in Whova. If at any time during this session, you start to feel overwhelmed or you feel like you need to talk to someone during this session, we have a phone number for you to call. It's 512-472-4357. Again, that's 512-472-4357. Press 1, then 1 again for immediate emotional support. Between sessions, you can also visit our comfort suite where we provide a safe haven. You'll find the comfort suite in community under the main navigation in Whova. I also want to remind you that we have a few surveys. For those of you who are registered for CEU credits, please check the chat for links. The first link will sign you in for the CEU. Please sign in at the beginning of the session. After the workshop, there will be another link for CEU evaluations. please click on the link for a short evaluation, which also includes your CEU request form. Once you've completed the evaluation, you'll be taken to a page where you can request your certificate. The third link is the session evaluation. It's really important that you let us know how we're doing and how we can make it better. Take this survey for a chance to win a $25 gift card. I also need to let you know that we have some great conference merchandise, some gear. So be sure to check out our online store at CTAAFSC.com/shop. At this time, please join me in welcoming Kristan Vasquez, Ascension, Texas Chief Operating Officer, who will introduce this afternoon's keynote speaker. Kristan.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. Good afternoon. My name is Kristan Vasquez. I serve as the Chief Operating Officer of Ascension, Texas. On behalf of our 14,000 associates within Ascension, Texas, I'm so happy to join you today for the Central Texas African American Family Support Conference, the first conference in Texas to focus on the healthcare needs of African American families. This conference was born from a desire to confront the systems and cultural biases that have resulted in African American families facing barriers to healthcare access. At Ascension Seton, we share this desire. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing your amazing, talented keynote speaker, Regina Louise. Regina Louise is a recipient of numerous awards and accolades. She was most recently awarded the United States Department of Human Services Individual Achievement Award for reducing the number of minority children in foster care through adoption. The Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors honored her for her service in helping Los Angeles County with their fostering youth. By the time Miss Louise was 16, she had lived in and failed to adjust to far too many foster homes, group homes, and psychiatric facilities. The many valuable years of formal education that Miss Louise missed didn't prevent her from pursuing her belief that she would be somebody. And in less than 3 short years, Miss Louise has addressed and educated over 3.5 million people across the nation about the present state and most probable futures of youth lost in foster care. Please help me welcome Miss Regina Louise as she shares with us her message titled Permission Granted, the Art of Thriving to Transform Trauma.
Kimberly, check your phone, and we lost connection with the speaker, so help us out.
All right. Good afternoon again, everyone. We're just, I thank you for making room and space for technical challenges. We sure miss being together all in person, but we're so glad that we have this platform. If you'll give us just a moment to come back to allow our speaker to get back in, I'll go back to my questions earlier. If you had a color to describe today, what color would that be? And then what song gets you up and moving in the morning, right? What's your theme song? And again, I welcome those who are coming into the room at this time. Awesome. Can you hear me okay, Lady Jane?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So we're still just waiting for our speaker to come back in?
Yes.
Awesome. I was trying to finagle between two different things. If anyone wants to unmute themselves and just tell me what your color is for today and why.
I would say mine is purple.
Purple. Tell me why purple.
Regal. I think.
Hey, the color of royalty. Bring it on.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Oh, sorry. I chose yellow because it's so nice and sunny outside.
It is beautiful outside today. You know, I had to almost force myself to go outside and just take a mental sun break, and it was medicine to my soul. So if you haven't done that today, I would encourage you to be intentional about your self-care and get outside and get you some of this good vitamin D. Yeah?
Mine
about-
is blue, Miss Kimberly,
Tell me why it's blue.
because I love the color of the sky.
Oh, that reminds us to look up. How are you today, beautiful?
I am fantastic. And I wake up to the song Happy. I love that song.
'Cause I'm happy. Look, that one gets you up and moving in just a minute. You only need 2 stanzas of that song and it automatically makes you clap. Anybody else have a theme song?
Golden, living my life like it's golden.
Jill Scott, living my life like it's golden. You see how I'm looking? Golden.
I think I got it. Did I get it?
I think I hear our speaker back.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you wonderfully.
Okay, so are we good? Are we ready to go?
Let me get you to come a little bit closer to your microphone or whatever you're speaking through so it doesn't sound like you're so far away, but we are connected and we've just been setting the atmosphere, talking about all the colors of the rainbow and how we feel in our day today. We've got some blue, some purple. Oh, there you are.
So can you hear me now? Is this better?
That is so
yes.
beautiful.
Okay, great.
Again, thank you
right.
all for making room for technology. And once again, we're going to turn the floor over and make space and hold space for one another and for our speaker today, Miss Regina Louise. Welcome.
First of all, thank you for holding the space, Kimberly. And that was very cute. I loved when you started singing Happy because I was over here trying to get my, post 1999 movements going because that's about as much as I know about being fly and dancing 1999. So thank you for that opportunity. And as I am in a new office space, I had to rely on IT to help acclimate me. And I'm speaking through a cube here, which is a new level. My Apple iPods are not needed. So thank you all. And here we are. And what I like to do, because I'm going to speak about traumas that shaped me. And so I would like to slow my own central nervous system down. My nervous system knows where I am about to go. And I can feel myself ramp up a little bit. And before I launch in, I'm going to take some breath. You all can breathe right along with me. So what I'm going to do is from deep in my belly, I'm going to take a breath and I'm going to release it slowly. Here we go. And I'm going to breathe in on 5 and release on 7. Here we go. And one more, in on 5, out on 7. I feel more present. I feel less activated, which means I have less of a chance of re-traumatizing myself as I share with you what it looks like to step into one's permission. Well, you just witnessed that. I took a moment, I listened, and what just happened? Okay, are you all there? Something just went down.
Yes, ma'am. We are actually still here. We can still hear you fine. The camera just went off. That's all. We can still hear you
Okay.
just fine.
So I'm going to hold on just a second. My apologies again. Technology.
We're just gonna keep breathing for you.
Yes,
Holding space
yes.
for you. Looks
Keep
like we have
breathing. There we go.
233 people here breathing with and
Ah!
for you.
I love it. All right. So, do you see me?
Not yet.
No.
Okay. Wow, this is all so different. I'm having challenge. Here's the wonderful IT man. Something happened. They can't see me anymore.
We can actually see you, but we can see the screen, but now we see the IT guy.
Here we go. There we go.
There we go. Look
That's
at
so
that.
nice. That's
I was
All
about to
right,
bust
thank
out
you.
a song right there
Thank
to get you
for
grounded
being
again.
right here.
very nice.
Yes, and then see how God works? The IT man said, I'm gonna sit right here. Okay, so that, you know, we can get to it. So yes, so I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna breathe in 5 and out 7. And another thing that I'm going to do, because I want to be generous to my own innocence, is I'm going to place one hand actually in my heart space and another hand on top of that, because what I know to be true, coming from a trauma-informed perspective, coming from not wanting to activate or reactivate trauma, is to release oxytocin, the mating hormone, neurotransmitter. So by placing one hand over the other in my heart space, I'm releasing the hormone oxytocin, and this is going to help me regulate. It's the reason why we are all here. It's the mating hormone, the love hormone. It's the hormone that allows a mother to nurse her child. And I'm going to breathe through my heart space, my heart center. So I'm breathing through my heart. And now I'm ready. It's an honor to be here with all of you. And when I recently spoke with Lady Jane, I felt so connected to the mission of the organization that she's a representative of. And it helped that I am originally from Austin, Texas. So this is a way to give back. I grew up in the same unsanctioned foster home that my biological mother grew up in. Hurting people hurt people. And I'll suffice it to say, my mother was brutally hurt in that my sister, who was born 5 years before me, is my mother's cousin. You do the deductive math on that one. My mother had a hard road to hoe. And because we all know how the epigenetic fingerprints of trauma affect the central nervous system and move through our communities intergenerationally, you know that my mother handed down her imprint of trauma to us. My sister was a victim of her trauma, as was both mothers, as was my mother. They were victims of their trauma. And in many ways, as many of you might be familiar with the adverse childhood experience, the ACEs, I will say that 3 of my family members, 4, have succumbed to the consequences of trauma. And the long game of how it decimates the character, the spirit of human beings. So I grew up in the same home that my mother grew up in. And it was difficult. And I grew up with people who wanted to beat the Black off me, because you see, that's what addictions can do. Addictions rob us of who we really are. Addictions and substance abuse in the line of work that I do as a coach who works with people on social emotional skills, addictions and substance abuse, they rob us of our true identity as spiritual beings having a human experience. So yes, I grew up in the hands of people who were gripped by their addictions, who had lost their sense of self, thus their sense of self-value, self-worth. And then they moved into the world trying to parent, trying to hold it down for somebody else's kids. The beautiful thing that we were all known for as a Black community, taking care of one another's children, became a place where addictions, patterns of self-hate, patterns of violence, patterns of compounded trauma were handed down. So I told myself as a child that I would not succumb, that I would live my life as a healing presence on the planet. So from that point on, I thought, I got to get out of here. I was 11 years old. I got to get out of here. I got to get away from these people. They're going to beat the Black off me. That's a whole hell of a lot of beating going on, because all I am is Black. That's all I got going for me in terms of skin. So I got to get out of here because they're going to kill me. And I got out. But let's be clear, I never got out without taking the imprint of what they put upon me. I didn't leave that. I didn't get out of that. But what I did get out of is the everyday rigmarole of being a victim. And them beating that victim consciousness into me. I needed to be a victor. So I left. And of course, I walked right into the fires and the depths of hell. Let's face it, I was a young Black girl, precocious as all get out, meaning I'm going to stand you down in your face and let you know why it's probably not a good idea to treat me that way. Right? I was right? I'm really having trouble with this. So I'm going to leave this alone, wherever my IT guy is, because this is getting in the way now. So I'm just going to keep talking, and then I'll be done when I'm done. So I decided that it was time for me to, it continually does that, that it was time for me to go into the world and figure it out. If it was good enough for Huckleberry Finn, it was good enough for me. And that's what I did, is I took myself out of the roots in which I had grown up in, and I turned myself over to the teacher, who then called the police. And then that began my journey into a different kind of hell. And as I mentioned just a moment ago, 30 different foster homes, solitary confinement. I was on more drugs, psychotropic drugs, for a 17-year-old. It's unconscionable. There were times when I'd go to say my name, and my name would front of my face, down the front of my clothes, and it was a terrifying existence, being in solitary confinement, simply because I wanted to have a contact with another human being who saw me as I am, who saw me in the fullness of my humanity. And I was aware of that kind of context as a child. Understand, no different than any of you, I came here wired to succeed, wired to live my greatest, biggest, deepest, widest possibilities. Again, no different from anybody on this call, but the only difference is I didn't have the opportunities to express that in the real world, to express that in a way that was valued and respected and honored and cheerleaded and championed, you know? So it was difficult. And like anybody, I responded to that. And like anybody, I at times took out on myself what I knew never to take out in person and in public and in relationships, because to do that would have left me in a mental institution, because I was meant to be shut down. I was meant to be silenced. I was meant to be erased. My Blackness, my womanliness was not welcomed in any place where I grew up. So to take that, to see the mirror of self-hate and the mirror of self-erasure and the mirror of zero, to walk in the face of that is a particular kind of darkness, a particular kind of evil, if you will. So to learn to walk head held high, regardless, was difficult. So for a long time, I persecuted myself. For a long time, I was a teenage alcoholic. I don't write about that, but I was a teenage alcoholic, hands down, unapologetic, right? I was a teenage anorexic. And I don't talk about that. I haven't written about that. And in my time, Black people weren't considered to have issues with food, bulimia, anorexia, all of it. So those were my addictions. Those were the substances that I used to slowly punish myself for not being lovable, vindictively hold it against myself that nobody wanted or loved me. And when I use the word vindictively held it against myself, I think it's really important when we tell our children, shut the F up, shut the heck up, shut the hell up, shut up before I give you something to cry for. What we may not understand is what we're saying. You are not important. You do not matter. Your voice doesn't matter. Your concerns do not matter. You simply just do not matter. And if you insist on the matter, that you matter, I'm really going to give you something to suffer about. And I want that to sink in. To walk through life in a body that no one sees, not your family, not your community, not society at large. That is a hell unlike any hell. To be rejected and to know it, to be abandoned and know it. That right there, that is a form of substance abuse. Self-hate is a form of substance abuse, because what we get to use is the substance of our own self-hate against us, our own unworthiness against us, our own lack of faith against ourselves. And then we move through our lives with this false sense of we don't matter. And if we don't matter, why bother? And then we journey into the descent of disintegration. That's where my life was headed. personal disintegration, watching myself die slowly. And I knew no one cared. And so there just came a point where I had to make a turn. All good characters in any great stories, they must make a turn. And it was in solitary confinement when I recognized, as I lay in my feces, see, that story was too dirty for anybody to tell the truth about. To have the guards drag me, right? That not carry me as I kick, but drag me. Skin coming off my body as I moved through the madness of it all. So yes, I've had to walk, and I'm going to go back to the word had. No, I chose, because that's the difference here. I chose to keep going. I chose to keep going, always be willing to see what's around the next corner. So while in solitary confinement, I made a vow to myself that I would get out of the circumstances and I would lift myself up, and then I would live my life as a prayer fulfilled for all the times that I prayed for someone like me, for all the times I prayed for a love that looked like me, felt like me, smelled like me, tasted like me. So that's what I decided to. And yes, there were many times where I OD'd from the medications that were prescribed to me. So I took the medication more than once and I stacked it, and then I took it because I had lost too much. No one seemed to care that I had lost too much. I didn't see care modeled back to me. What I saw was, you're bad, you're not worth it, and we're done with you. So that's what I saw. So I took that on. I'm bad, I'm not worth it, I'm done with you. And so yes, there were times that I attempted suicide. I'm not ashamed to say it. It's real. These are the consequences. These are the psychological, the emotional, and the spiritual consequences that arrive as a result of being treated inhumane. And, I don't think I've ever really said that out loud, but I will. I lived a childhood of being treated inhumane. And that's painful. That's even painful right now, because what I learned is I needed to run. I needed to outrun my own awareness. I needed to outrun my own understanding because it was too bleak. It was too deep. It was too dark. And it's now that I have the courage, I have the strength, I have the understanding and the education to go back, to do the deep work that I do, not only for myself, but with other people in my practice as a coach. I work with people to go back to reach back rather into the darkness of their lived experiences, the addictions, the self-harm, and they reach back, the self-abandonment, and they open that hand and they see their own shame staring back at them. And I support people by doing it myself. It's a parallel journey. I support people to stay in the face of the heat of what happened, of what they didn't get, and how they punished themselves because they didn't get it, how they believed that they were less than because they didn't get it, how they have committed their life, how they have affirmed their lives to repeat what was done to them because that's what they feel they deserve, right? but to slow it all down and to take a personal inventory. Okay, I see the days, I see all that. And now here I am, and here you are. Here we all are. Now what? So now I'm going to use my life to be that prayer answered, to be that faith in action. And although I can never go back fully to my childhood and change what happened, what I can do when I pull that atrocity from the bag and I open my hand and I look at that shame, what I can do is look at my shame. Slow it all down. And I can look at the time when I was a victim. Yes, I can say it. I was a victim. Does not mean I am one, but it means I am one at that time. I was one at that time. And then I will give to that victimized part of me all the love, all the grace, all the acceptance and understanding that is humanly possible. And so in that moment and in that action, although I can't go back and change anything about what occurred, but what I can do in this moment is reclaim the dignity that I lost at that time, right? I give myself permission to do that. And I'm the only one who can. And in so doing, I then become so powerful to transform my trauma into a workable commodity, into a negotiable commodity, into a transactional commodity of grace, of unconditional self-love. Because if I can go back to all those places where my spirit was nailed to the cross, and if I can slowly pull every one of those nails out, then I get to put the learning of the resurrection on its feet, right? I get to resurrect my own spirit with the faith that I can actually do that, with the faith that I actually deserve that, with the faith that that would be Christ consciousness moving through me as me, right? To each his own and what they believe. But I know that my life is evidence of the works of goodness by facto of me standing here, successful, resilient. Is that not what the crucifixion is really about, is the power of resilience? How many of you have gone through unconscionable, unspeakable acts, but yet you're here with the capacity to think back and say, oh yeah, lost people you love, people who love stopped loving you, right? Lost jobs, lost homes, financial means, lost ourselves to drugs, alcohol, and all the other things and ways of being in the world, patterns that convince us that we are less than the all-powerful that we actually are. And by facto, that every single one of us have turned from using our power to nail ourselves to the proverbial crosses and understood the difference and are now have the perspective and the discernment to know the difference. Are we not all of us capable of saying, Spirit, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's what this conference is about, right? The wisdom to know the difference. So what does that wisdom look like? And what is the difference we're looking for? And what is the metric that we use to measure the delta between the two? That's what I had to look at in my life. Sure, there was a woman who loved me. For those of you who saw that movie yesterday, sure, there was a woman who loved me, and she happened to arrive in the color of whiteness. Okay? And like I shared with the people yesterday on that call before the movie began, something that I did not understand, and it took me most of my life to finally move into forgiveness, right? Wishing things were different than they were, and recognizing that I'm going to release trying to change the outcome. That for me is forgiveness. So once I stopped wishing for my circumstances to have been different, once I stopped wishing to want to go in and tweak it so that I could have a better outcome, I moved into acceptance. And then when I moved into acceptance, I moved into wisdom. And when I moved into wisdom, that's when I began to know the difference between who I am and who I am not. What is mine and what is not mine. So my mother, I was never an orphan. I was never an unloved child. And I honestly was never unwanted. Okay? It was never personal. And I understood that. So I know that my mother loved me. My mother loved me. My mother looked into these hazel brown eyes. I didn't have freckles yet. And she loved me. She mirrored that. It was a small amount of time, nevertheless, powerful, indelible. And that is what set me up to meet that white woman. It was the love that my mother had already given me that I was able to recognize in that white woman. It saved my life. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I could not change that I was itinerant. I could not change that I was a wanderer. I was homeless. I did not have healthy enough people to be there for me because of their own addictions. My mother, severe alcoholic. My biological father, this guy had an IQ equivalent to Albert Einstein, with nowhere to go with it, nothing to do with it. He worked for Barry White. I digress. So for some of us as Black people, having a high IQ, being incredibly intelligent can be an adverse childhood experience, just to put it in perspective. All right, it could be a threat to those who may not think and roll and have that kind of intellectual acumen. But that woman, she saw me, I saw her. She loved me in a way that I wish my own mother could have continued to love me. And it was love, that the love in me activated by her. Because see, there was no white savior. That's a trope that, in my opinion, untutored people bring to a circumstance because it's a familiar pattern and it's low-hanging fruit, right? What does it matter? The color of love, courage, advocacy, champion. What does it matter what color that shows up as if it saves a life? if it resuscitates a broken spirit. I challenge all of us. If we see that white woman with a little black child and that hair looks a hot mess, forget about making fun. Why not walk on over? Hey, you know what? Let me help you out because you're doing something I'm not willing to do. Right? Why don't we get off that thing of finding the wrong and seeing the wrong and then feeling justified? Why don't we, as Black people, as pure brilliance, as people whose children are disproportionately representative in all these systems, penal, foster care, industrial complex, homelessness, 50% of all homelessness come from the foster care system. Why don't we rise up and come together and get a plan to go and get our own, claim our own, help our own? When was the last time any of us found a shelter or juvenile hall and went and read to a child or just got a pen pal? Why don't I dare somebody in this audience to start a pen pal. Remember that back in the day? Well, I'm dating myself. I know I'm not going to assume that, everybody is my age. I know there's a lot of the millennials and Generation Zers, but what would it look like to start a pen pal club for kids in foster care, kids who are disenfranchised, kids in your own community? So I just throw that out there because I want us empowered. I accepted this speaking experience because I want, every time someone asks me to speak, I say yes. I find a way. I cancel things, not because I have to, but because I want to. Because any opportunity I can get to be symbolic of something better than the dirt I came from, I will step into that. I recognize that the life I've lived is extraordinary for many different reasons. I get that. And I also know it's a choice. Every choice I made along the way led me to this point. When I was in solitary confinement, I said, one day I'm going to get up out of my own feces. I'm going to get up out of my own urine. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to tell the world about these systems, about level 14 residential treatment centers, about how I was treated. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that on behalf of every little Black girl and every little Black boy who doesn't have that voice, who doesn't have the aspirations that I have. So I just want you all to know I'm grateful for being here. I am so grateful because y'all look like me. Some of y'all talk like me, walk like me, love and breathe like me. And what I want you to know is, no, I'm not an influencer in that way. No, I do not have millions of people hanging on my every word. I'm a micro-influencer, not that that matters. And I use my life as a walking, living, breathing testimony, prayer answered. And I invite all of y'all to do the same in whatever way you feel called, because it's us. It is only us. It will always be us who are going to come save our lives, who are going to come resurrect our spirits. We are beautiful, brilliant, genius. We are the soul. We are the soul of this thing called life. We are the soul. All you need to do is go listen to Tasha Cobb Leonard saying, you know my name. And you already know we the soul. All you gotta go do is listen to our girl Tamala Mann. Take me to the King. You already know who we are. You know who you is. You know who I am, no matter what color we are or not. That's a laughable conceit. That's a contrived construct of racism and racist systems used to diminish and erase the God-given inalienable truths about who we are. And the tragedy is that we drink from that chalice. I drink from no one's chalice. I drink from the truth that springs forth eternal within my own body. I'm grateful to solitary confinement. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm gonna try to turn this janky thing on, which I've lost all my damn patience with. Okay. I am beautiful. I am brilliant. And so are you. I am, that whole thing about it's impossible, that's a lie. I'm gonna keep doing this and we're gonna keep doing this because I am not gonna let this janky thing keep wrecking my experience. Get behind me, Satan. Mr. IT man, can you help me, brother? You may need to sit in here. And Matt, this ain't working. Because I need to see y'all before I go. Hey, baby, what can we do? Because this thing has gone off and on and off and on and off and on. What can we do? Because I need these people to see me before I'm about to tie this thing up. So just know that when you leave, it's going to go off again because it does it on an interval, like every 5 minutes. And they paying me and I so if it can give me 6 minutes, that would be great.
Let me get a different adapter.
All right. Look, you beautiful human beings. This is so healing. This is so incredibly healing. As a Black woman, as a Black girl, as they say, disenfranchised. Here we go again. There it goes. Disenfranchised. I don't buy that. I am not disenfranchised. I am not marginalized. I am capable of closing the gap on my own disadvantage. And no, I shouldn't have to. Now that's the question. I shouldn't have to. I should have privileges and opportunities that privilege my opportunities. And that's what's missing. But it's not going to stop me as I pray. It does not stop you. See, that's what permission granted is about. No more victim. We move from victim to victor, but we do it for ourselves. We give ourselves permission. That means we say yes, allow ourselves to step into our power and live our own experience on our own terms. That's what this is about. That's what it has to be about. And thank you for your listening time. Thank you for your patience and your grace. Thank you for choosing me. And when we get back to hashtag IRL, Lady Jane, we need to redo this. Y'all need to bring a sister to Texas, okay? So I can get some real ass food, okay? Some greens, right? So I can beat a rattlesnake with a shovel. I want to put on my cowgirl boots. And cowgirl, I want to say something, but I won't. Y'all know what I want to say. Cowboy, let's go, Central Texas. I'm sending y'all peace, love, I'm sending y'all light. I'm gonna say that I want
We are
y'all,
receiving all of the
I want y'all to connect with me. My website is www.IamReginaLouise.com. I want you to sign up and subscribe. I want you to walk alongside me as I walk alongside you. Uh-oh. Are we good? What happened? Y'all there?
We can still hear you just fine. Keep going.
Okay, I want y'all to walk alongside me. You know, we don't always have to take to the streets, right? To march on Selma. We can take to the spirits. We can join in online communities. I will be holding a workshop, particularly for BIPOC, right? Black, Indigenous, people of color. And I will be partnering with the Omega Institute. Do y'all know what the Omega Institute is? It is the bastion of personal growth. It is the Carnegie Hall of personal growth and healthy mental health. And in September, I'm going to lead a 5-day workshop priced intentionally to make it possible for people who look like me to show up and to have an experience in an environment that is vegan, plant-based, on a lake. Do you understand what I'm saying? So walk alongside me. Subscribe, www.IamReginaLouise.com. On Instagram, if you are on Instagram, The Real Regina Louise. And because I understand the HIPAA requirements, we will never refer back to what happened or what was said today. I get that. I understand the assignment. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so with that.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. We want to make sure we leave some space and time for people to ask questions. Before I do that, Miss Regina Louise, I just want to read to you a few of the comments.
All right.
And I wrote down for myself that we so appreciate your perseverance, right? We know how irritating and frustrating it can be to know the assignment and then there to be technical issues. And so some of the comments that came through was, we can hear your spirit loud and clear. Someone else said that this was something that they thought they weren't supposed to talk about, but today you brought it out loud and clear. You gave them freedom to live with their story. Also, you gave us a call to action today. And that was to turn our trauma into triumph. And I just want you to know how grateful we are. And as I look at it, there's 250 people here right now holding space, love for you. And even when it came off, to be honest with you, I think it allowed me to hear you better, right? And so my soul has been nailed to the cross. What I'm going to do now is that we do a live and answer.
You're cutting in and out.
You just raise your virtual. Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
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 Okay. All right, perfect. I've been praying all day that God will be my Wi-Fi. So I know about that.
Go.
What I want to do now is open up the floor for questions and answers. If you would just raise your virtual hand so that Ms. Regina Louise can answer your questions for you, if you'll do so at this time. And I'm going to ask my tech support people in the background if you'll just let me know if you see a hand raised.
There's one in Q&A right now, Kimberly.
I see Felicia Rivers. Welcome. You have the mic.
Yes, I just want to say this was awesome. Thank you so much. I don't really have a question. I mean, you answered every question I could possibly have. Very inspiring sharing that you did, and I really appreciate it. I really, really do. And I appreciate you not giving up on technology, but we could hear you really well. Thank you so much.
Okay. You are so welcome. And I want to say this to you. I love your voice, everybody. I recognize that, again, when we are able to get back together in real life, I will speak with Lady Jane. I want to come and I want to be with you IRL, and we can spend an hour together, like a town hall. I will talk with her about that, and that we will talk about all the logistics of it, but I want to give that to you. And again, I will talk with her about how to make that happen. If in fact, that's something that would resonate with you, it would be a grand time. I promise you that. So thank you. Okay, I'm ready.
Awesome. It looks like we have another hand raised. If you'll just simply unmute yourself, and you are at the virtual mic. Welcome. Let's see. That's Cynthia Brown. Are you there,
Okay,
Miss Cynthia?
thank you. Yes, ma'am, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
We can hear you fine.
We can hear you.
Don't
Okay.
forget to lower your hand.
Okay, I will. I also wanted to say that this was wonderful. And what I really wanted to tell you was, I really appreciate you keeping it real with us. I really appreciate that. You know, that there weren't a lot of big words talked over anything, that you just kept it real. And that means so much to me. And thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. And thank Lady Jane, because she put me in check. She was like, you know, girl, you got to pull up and make sure you're relatable. And so, amen. And thank you for that. Thank you for that. That means a lot. Thank you.
Awesome. Showing up as your real authentic self is the most important thing. And you actually modeled for us what to do when things are not quite going as we planned. And we're just reminded to just breathe, right?
Yes.
I want to open the mic right now. I'm going to pass the virtual mic to Tiffany Brown. Thank you for your question. Come on in.
Hi, Tiffany.
Hello. Oh my gosh. I'm fighting tears. Because
Go ahead, baby. Let it, you know what? Right now, all we know is the moment of family right now. Right now, we are family. We're human. So baby girl, be true to who you are right now. It's okay.
Yeah. And I just wanted to say I appreciate you telling your story, because your story hits very, very close to home. I'm 44 now, but I've been in foster care when I was younger, several foster care homes, children's homes. I was adopted twice. So when I tell my story to certain people, and I've also volunteered at children's homes as well, in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm rather new to the Austin area, but I just wanted to say I loved hearing you talk and speak your truth and tell your story, because a lot of times people put a stigma. There is a stigma that is placed upon people that have been in children's homes, that have been in foster care, that have been in disrupted adoptions, you know? So just to hear you say what you said and just you fought through it, I just want to say thank you. I am so glad that I got a chance to be in this conference, because I kept wondering, why did your name sound familiar? And just listening earlier on as you were talking about your story, I actually have the story in my in my playlist ready to be played. Your movie in regards to you. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I was flabbergasted, but I'm glad that I'm able to lay eyes on you and hear your story. And again, thank you for being a source of encouragement for all of us.
That's beautiful. Wow, my heart is so full right now, Tiffany. Thank you for that. Thank you for that love. Thank you for pouring into me, because what's beautiful about what you just said, and I'm a firm believer of this, what I witnessed just happened is you poured into you. And when you poured into you, because see, when you pour into me, that has to come from some place, and that it comes from you. You're pouring into you. So this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Thank you.
Kimberly, there's a question in the Q&A in Hoover.
I have a question in Hoover. Again, thank you for making room for technology and me and my bifocals. For real,
I have
though.
those. I know bifocals.
The question is, what would you say to a mom who is struggling to raise her child in the mental health system, who also suffers with mental health, ? She is also struggling through the law enforcement agencies as well. Do you have a word?
Wow, right? So that struggle, that to me is the red flag. And so what would it look like to, one, get someone to support her, a friend, anybody, share what is, talk about that struggle. Because to me, it's when we as Black people especially, we have learned to be all of it, to do it all, be it all. And then we don't necessarily take care of ourselves in the face of us taking care of everything and everybody else. So too often there's not enough, and we are given, when we're having to pay this Black tax, we're given 2 to 3 to 4 times as much. So it seems like a never ending story. But if we can slow down, slow it down and connect to our own worth. To me, everything is about self-worth. We slow it down. And here's something that can be very tricky. One of the things I've had to learn, and it was one of the most painful, and it still is to be our own good enough mother.
Come on.
How in the world can I be my own good enough mother when my blessed own mother wasn't good enough? You understand what I'm saying? So we get to slow this thing down and say, but is that true? Because see, evidence is saying you are in a system, you're a single mother, you are working with a child, and you're working within the mental health systems, and you're struggling, and you're looking for answers. That right there is your step, is your brilliance, is the God in you activated. A good enough mother does that, because one who doesn't get it, guess what she does? She gives up.
That's good. We have a few more hands raised, and I want to make sure I make space for those. Marianne, thank you for being so patient. You have the floor at this time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hey,
Marianne, hi. Thank you for saying my name right. First of all, it's Marianne.
I love it.
Okay. I just want to know, what kind of advice would you give? Because I am from a single mother, so I understand that story, but I made it where that wasn't my crutch, because I'm the first one in the family to actually get a master's degree, because my mom didn't. But I also want to know some advice, because I want to be full, like I know you are, to get out information. The reason I came to this conference is because my master's degree is in forensic psychology. But the main part of that is the mental health. My heart is full when I know that I've helped someone that has mental health, because right now I work with the homeless. And my heart is always full when I have a challenge, when someone says, I can't get through to them, but I do. So I want to know some type of advice to continue to do that and be loud and proud about it.
For you to continue to move through the obstacles. No, so what I'm hearing you, hey, what I'm hearing you, if I'm hearing you right, if I'm hearing you right, first of all, what I think is the most important thing is can you see your screen, Marion? Can you see the screen? Can you see all the people?
Yes.
So I'm going to invite everybody on this screen to step into their humanity and send Marion all the love that they possibly can by way of those red hearts. Send her, there we go. See, first of all, what I'm hearing, and I like to be transparent, is you want to be seen and you want to be heard. Because see, you're doing this work, you're doing it in the dark, you're doing it by yourself, you feel alone, ain't nobody tracking, who's keeping score of the brilliance that you're bringing, of the merits that you're establishing? Nobody. That's what I'm hearing. So it's in this moment right here and right now, I'm going to say to you, Marion, thank you. I see you.
Awesome.
And I'm going to go even deeper. Not only do I see you, Marion, I love you.
That's beautiful.
That's what's up. That's all that's up.
Yeah.
And so where's your tribe, sister? Who are the people who can see you, who can hear you, who can love you, who can validate you, and who can also check you when you're doing too much?
Yeah.
And not caring for yourself. And they can say, Marion, when was the last time? Marion, did you have a childhood name when you were growing up? A nickname? Nothing like that?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah, my mom used to say, yes, I did. My mom used to call me Little Darling.
So, Marianne, Elsie, when was the last time you took, with intention, Little Darling out for an ice cream? Just her and you. The good enough mother, the one that knows to go and get a master's, the one that knows how to activate the masters and do your purpose. When was the last time you took Little Darling and did something for her and her alone?
Beautiful.
All right, y'all. We got to tie it up. I got somebody
Jane,
waiting.
how much time do we have?
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
All right. I want to, Ashley, does Ashley still have a question? If not, I'm gonna go to Chandra. We have time for just one more question real quick.
Yeah.
Chandra?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, I'm Chandra. I'm so happy
Chandra.
that I'm so happy that I was here to hear your story. I don't think I have so much a question as really I just want to share something that I experienced today, which is that your story was so honest and so detailed, and I still wanted to hear it. And I think that as a person who works in the mental health profession, I'm warned constantly and have really, it's been just really taught to me to be careful about triggering other people and re-traumatizing other people. And so I really censor myself a lot. And I just spoke and shared my own story on Sunday. And as I was hearing you speak today, I was realizing how much of that it feels like I'm almost like covering up or hiding it, because there's still shame or that it makes other people uncomfortable, and that they'll go away, basically, right? That it's not okay to say what happened. And so I just think that it's amazing that we were all here to hear you. And my experience wasn't that I was re-traumatized. I just felt like I was with you, and I'm so glad that I was here. And I don't know, I'm just sending you a lot of love. I'm sending you a lot of love. I'm sending your little child a lot of love. And I thank you for how honest and open you are. So
see, Spirit, you know, when you get them goosebumps, y'all, every single person, every one of y'all has had your testimony, and on every one of y'all, I've got the you know what they call that in my world and the work I do? What that is spirit recognizing itself. And it's going, yes, give me a hallelujah moment. So thank you all for these incredible hallelujah moments. Awesome. Again, thank you, Marian, Tiffany, all of you. I'm so grateful. This was beautiful. And I look forward to staying connected to y'all if you wish.
All right. So I want to just take this opportunity to thank each of you for being so vulnerable, for being transparent, and for holding space, right? We were in a virtual circle today. No one was higher than the other. It was almost like we just held hands in a kumbaya.
Go, you better go, Kimberly Holiday.
The takeaway today is that the more you share your story, you actually rid yourself of the shame and all of those things. Today, you gave us all permission to be free to be ourselves and to turn our trauma into a triumph.
Yes.
My trauma equipped me for where I am today, and for that I am so grateful.
And I want to say this last thing as I go, because I'm going to have to go.
Yes, ma'am.
Love, true love, pure love is the act of sharing our shame with someone who will not shame us for it. That's what went down today.
Yes.
All right, it's time for us to get free. Once again, we'd like to thank Miss Regina Louise for sharing her knowledge and her insight, her vulnerability, which measures.
I'm gonna go, y'all. Much love.
Thank you so much. Humans. Have a great day, everybody.
Yes.
So I just want to say real quick, if you want to be in touch with any of our presenters, you can go to the attendees and you can leave a personal message. So I want to encourage you all to do that. We had over 258 people in here at one time. That's a whole lot of love. I'll see you guys in the next session. My name is Kimberly Holiday. It has been my absolute pleasure to love and serve as your moderator. Keep being amazing you. Have a great day, everybody.
You too.